Today is my first day as a substitute teacher. I am here to teach English speaking. I open my notebook. I write 6 numbers. I say, today you will learn 6 simple tips to speak English better. A boy laughs. He says, I understand English, but when I speak, I forget the words. Can you fix that? I answer, yes. That is one reason I am here. A girl says, I know many words, but I feel nervous when I talk. My mind goes blank. I say, I understand. Many people feel the same. Another student says, sometimes I speak, but people do not understand me. My accent is strong. I say, that is okay. We will talk about it today. I write on the board, you do not need to be perfect to speak English. The room becomes quiet for a moment. I continue. Many people wait for the perfect moment to speak. That moment never comes. You must speak now. A student at the back says, but if I make mistakes, they will laugh. I say, even native speakers make mistakes. The goal is to be understood, not to be perfect. I look at the class and ask, do you want to learn how to speak more clearly, remember words better, and feel confident? Some students nod, some stay quiet. I say, I will give you 6 tips. These tips are easy to understand, easy to use, and they work. But they are not only for your brain, they are also for your heart. Speaking a language is not just about memory. It is about how you feel when you speak. A boy says, so this is not grammar class? I smile and say, no, this is about real speaking. You will use these tips outside this room, in your life. I point to the first number in my notebook. Tip number 1 is important, but many people forget it. If you listen carefully, it can change the way you speak forever. I pause. Are you ready to hear it? The room is still. I say, tip number 1 is, and then I stop again. I look at them and ask, do you want to know it now? Or do you want to keep waiting for the perfect moment? The students look at each other. Someone says, now. I close my notebook slowly and say, good, because this first tip will change the way you feel about English. I open my notebook again. I write the words, avoid perfection. I say, this is tip number 1. The students look at the board. One boy says, I do not understand. Why avoid perfection? Should we not try to be perfect? I say, no. You do not need to be perfect to speak English. The same boy says, but if I am not perfect, people will think I am stupid. I say, no. If you speak, people will understand you. That is the goal. Understanding is more important than perfection. A girl in the front raises her hand. She says, but I know grammar rules. I studied them. Still, when I try to speak, I stop. I think about the rules. I do not speak fast. I say, that is because you are trying to be perfect, and perfection creates fear. Fear stops you. Another student says, sometimes I say something and my friends laugh. Then I do not want to speak again. I write another sentence on the board. Even native speakers make mistakes. I say, people who speak English from birth also say words wrong. They also forget grammar. They also ask, wait, is that the right word? But they keep speaking. The room is quiet for a second. I can feel they are thinking. Then someone at the back says, but if I make a mistake in an exam, I lose points. That means mistakes are bad. I answer, in an exam, yes, the teacher gives points for correct answers. But in life, outside the classroom, speaking is about connection. In life, you can make mistakes and still be understood, and when you are understood, you win. Another student says, so, you are saying we should speak even with mistakes? I say, yes, speak with mistakes. Speak with courage. Speak with your heart. If you stay silent, you learn nothing. If you speak, you learn faster. I give them an example. If you say, I goed to the store yesterday, it is not correct. The correct word is went. But guess what? People will still understand you. They will know you went to the store. That is what matters. A girl says, but will I always speak like that? With mistakes? I say, no. When you speak, you hear yourself. Your brain remembers. The next time you say it better. Every mistake is a teacher, but you must let the teacher speak to you. And that happens only when you speak. I pause. I look at the back row. A boy who has not spoken yet raises his voice. I think you are wrong, he says. My cousin moved to the United States. He tried to speak. People laughed at him. He stopped speaking. Now he understands English, but he cannot talk. The class looks at me, waiting. I say, your cousin stopped speaking because of fear. That is what I am trying to remove from you. I cannot promise no one will laugh, but I can promise that if you keep speaking, you will grow. And one day, you will speak so well, no one will laugh. The boy shakes his head. Maybe, he says. I smile and answer, not maybe. If you keep going, it will happen. I can see doubt in their faces, but I can also see curiosity. They are wondering if I am right. They are wondering if they can really speak without fear. And they are wondering what the next tip will be. I turn the page in my notebook. I write, Tip 2, shadowing. I say, now we will talk about a technique that can make you speak faster and more naturally. It is called shadowing. A boy laughs. Shadowing? Like a shadow? What does that have to do with English? I say, yes. A shadow follows a person. In this technique, your voice follows another voice. You listen to someone speaking in English, and you repeat exactly what they say just after they say it. A girl says, that sounds strange. Why not just read a text? I answer, because reading is not the same as speaking. With shadowing, your ears, your brain, and your mouth work together at the same time. That is how you train for real conversation. Another student raises his hand. But what if I cannot repeat fast enough? I say, that is okay. You start slow. You repeat short sentences. Then you grow. Athletes repeat exercises to get strong. Musicians repeat notes to get better. You will repeat English sentences to speak more naturally. I see a girl thinking. She says, I watch movies in English. Is that the same? I say, it can help, but only if you repeat the lines out loud. Watching without speaking is like watching someone exercise and thinking you will get fit. You must do it yourself. The same boy from earlier says, I tried speaking after videos before, but my accent is bad. I sound nothing like them. I write on the board, accent is not the problem. Silence is. I say, your accent will improve when you speak more. The goal is not to sound perfect. The goal is to make speaking feel natural. You cannot fix an accent you never use. Another boy says, but I feel stupid talking to my phone or my computer. I smile. Then talk to your mirror, talk to your wall, talk to your pet. The important part is that you talk. Your voice needs practice. One girl asks, what if I do not understand every word the speaker says? I say, that is fine. You can still repeat the sound. You can still follow the rhythm. Your brain will start to recognize the words over time. Understanding every word is not the first goal. Speaking more is the first goal. I give them a small challenge. Right now, I will say a sentence. You repeat after me. Ready? I say slowly. I want to speak English with confidence. They repeat. Some laugh. Some try seriously. I make it faster. I want to speak English with confidence. They try again. I make it normal speed. I want to speak English with confidence. This time, almost everyone repeats correctly. I say, see, you just did shadowing, and you improved in less than 1 minute. A boy in the back says, that was easy, but can it really make me better? I say, yes. If you do it every day, even for 5 minutes, your speaking will change. You will think faster. You will speak faster. You will sound more natural. The boy says, I do not believe it. I answer, then I will make you believe it. The students laugh. I close my notebook and say, tomorrow we will try it again, and I promise some of you will surprise yourselves. The next day I return to the classroom. I tell them, today we will test shadowing again. But this time I will not choose the sentence, you will. The students look at each other. One boy says, we can say anything? I nod. Anything in English. The boy who said yesterday that he did not believe me raises his hand. I have one, he says. Say this. I can speak English better every day. I repeat it slowly. They repeat after me. I make it a little faster. They follow. I make it normal speed. Some keep up, some do not. I say, good. Now we will do it again, but without me. You will say it at the same time as I say it. I start, I can speak English better every day. They try to match my voice. A few get it. I hear the boy in the back say it perfectly. I stop. I look at him. Say it again, alone. The class turns to him. He hesitates. Say it, I repeat. He says, I can speak English better every day. His voice is strong. The class is silent. I ask, could you say that yesterday? He shakes his head. No. Yesterday I was scared. A girl speaks up. Try a harder one, she says. I smile. Okay, how about, I am not afraid to make mistakes in English. I say it once. They repeat. I say it again, faster. They try again. I say, now you. The boy in the back says it clearly without stopping. A few others manage it too. I can see their faces changing. They are starting to believe they can do it. Then something unexpected happens. A quiet girl in the corner, who has not spoken since I arrived, raises her hand. Can I try? She says softly. I nod. She stands and says, I want to speak English, like a native one day. She struggles, but she finishes. The class claps. I ask, could you say that last week? She shakes her head. No, I never speak in English. But today, I want to. I tell them, this is why we practice. Not to be perfect, but to be brave. The boy in the back says, maybe this works. The quiet girl says, not maybe, it works. The room is filled with a strange energy now. It is no longer the same noisy, distracted place. Something has changed. I look at my notebook. The next tip is ready. But before I turn the page, I ask them, do you want to stop here? Or do you want to learn the next way to make your English stronger? They shout, next one. I smile, but inside I'm thinking, this is the moment I was waiting for. I turn the page in my notebook. On the top, I have written, Tip 3, Paraphrasing. I tell them, now we will learn something different. This is not only about speaking faster, it is also about thinking in English. It is called paraphrasing. One student asks, what is that? I say, paraphrasing means you hear or read something, and then you say the same idea in your own words. A girl says, so, it is like translation? I shake my head. No, you do not change the language. You keep it in English, but you use your own words. The boy in the back frowns. Why do that? Why not just repeat the same sentence? I say, because repeating is good for practice, but paraphrasing makes your brain work harder. It forces you to understand and express the idea yourself. This makes your English more natural and flexible. I write a short sentence on the board. The dog ran to the park. I point at it and say, who can say this in a different way? A girl says, the dog went to the park quickly. I nod. Good. You change some words, but the meaning is the same. Another student says, the dog hurried to the park. I say, excellent. You are finding new words. That is vocabulary growth. Then I make it a bit harder. Many people learn English online with videos. I ask, can you say this another way? The quiet girl from yesterday speaks. Lots of people study English on the internet using videos. I smile. Perfect. That is paraphrasing. A boy says, but what if I forget the exact words? I answer, that is the point. You do not need the exact words. You just need to explain the idea. That skill will help you in conversations when you forget one word. You can still talk without stopping. I give them a challenge. Now I will say something longer. You listen. Then you say it your own way. I read, "Learning English is easier when you practice every day." I call on the boy in the back. He says, "It is easier to learn English if you study daily." I nod. Good. Same meaning, different words. I look at them and say, "This technique will help you in real life. When you are speaking and forget a word, you can explain the meaning with other words. You will not freeze. You will keep talking. And that is what fluent speakers do." A girl says, "This is hard." I say, "Yes, it is, but hard things make you grow." Some students write notes. Others look at me with interest. I know they are ready for more. I close my notebook and say, "Next time, we will learn how to make your sentences longer, richer, and more interesting." That is tip 4. Then, before I open my notebook, a hand goes up. It is the same boy from the back. He says, "Teacher, I want to practice speaking, but I have no one to talk to. No friends who speak English. What do I do then?" The class becomes quiet. I smile and say, "That is a very good question. This is not one of my 6 tips, but it is something I always tell my students. I will call it a bonus tip." I write on the board, "Read out loud." I say, when you read out loud, you train your mouth to say English words. You do not need another person. You can practice alone every day. A girl says, "But will that really help? I'm just reading. It is not a real conversation." I say, "It will help a lot." Speaking is not only about ideas, it is also about training the muscles in your mouth. The more your mouth gets used to English sounds, the easier it will be to speak in real life. The quiet girl from the corner says, "So, I can read my favorite book in English but speak it out loud?" I answer, "Exactly. You can use books, short articles, or even your class notes. The important thing is to read them with your voice. Your brain hears the words, your mouth learns the movements, and you start to feel more comfortable speaking." The boy in the back says, "But what if I don't know how to say a word?" I say, "Then you can check the pronunciation online or in a dictionary. That way, you learn 2 things at the same time, the meaning and the sound." I add, when you read silently, your eyes learn the words. When you read out loud, your whole body learns them. Your voice, your ears, and your memory all work together. I give them a challenge. Tonight, choose one short text. Read it out loud 3 times. The first time slowly to understand. The second time a little faster. The third time at a natural speed. Do this for 1 week, and you will feel the difference. A student says, "So even if I have no one to talk to, I can still practice every day?" I say, "Yes, you can be your own speaking partner. You just need your voice and a text in English. That is enough to grow." I turn back to the board. This bonus tip is not part of the official 6, but I believe it is powerful. It removes the excuse of, "I have no one to talk to." You always have yourself. The students nod. I can see they understand. I close my notebook again and say, "Now, let us finish with the final 3 tips." I open my notebook one last time. I write the last 3 tips on the board. Tip 4, expansion. Tip 5, use words in context. Tip 6, writing practice. I tell them, we will move faster now. These 3 are easy to understand, but they will make a big difference if you use them. I start with expansion. This means you take a short sentence and make it longer with more details. I give an example. I eat breakfast. I ask, how can we make it longer? One student says, I eat breakfast at 7 o'clock. Another says, I eat breakfast with eggs and fruit. I say, good. Every detail makes your English more complete. Then I go to using words in context. This means you do not only memorize new words, you put them in real sentences. I choose the word challenge. I say, learning English is a challenge, but I enjoy it. A student makes his own. Speaking is a challenge for me, but I try. Another says, exams are a challenge, but I study. I tell them, this is how you make words stay in your mind. Finally, I explain writing practice. Writing helps you remember, and it gives you time to think in English. I ask them to write one sentence with a new word they learned today. They start writing. I walk around and see their sentences. Some are short, some are longer, but all of them are trying. When they finish, I tell them, these are the 6 tips. None of them require perfect grammar. None of them require special talent. They only require one thing, practice. Small practice, every day. I can see some students are thinking about their own habits. I say, you do not need hours. You can use 5 minutes. You can speak in your room. You can write one sentence in your notebook. You can repeat one phrase from a video. Every small step is progress. The boy in the back says, so if I do these 6 tips, I will speak better? I say, yes, not in one day, but step by step. And one day you will notice you are speaking more, remembering more, and feeling more confident. The quiet girl adds, I think I will start today. I say, that is the best time to start. The bell rings. The students pack their things. Some come to me and say, thank you. Others leave in silence, but I know they are thinking. As the room empties, I close my notebook. I feel that something happened here. Maybe small, maybe big, but real. They arrived as a noisy class with no interest. They leave with 6 tools to change their English. I walk to the door and think, maybe I am just a substitute. But today, I taught something they can carry for life.